Hey guys, this is Cam for 15, back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back for like one of my first One Piece manga chapter reviews in like months. I don't know when's the last manga chapter review been for One Piece, but I just felt like this chapter was so big that I had to talk about it. Like, you get the revelation of Dr. Vegapunk, what he really looks like. You get information tying back to Robin's backstory in terms of the stuff that was left over from Ohara. And I'm just like, oh shit, I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this. Now, ultimately, how this Egghead arc has been going, I have liked where the story has been going. I think it's interesting. Now it's making sense why Lucci, Stussy, and Kaku are going to Egghead to try to kill Dr. Vegapunk, because this dude legitimately knows so much information, and he's probably been keeping that a secret from the world government, and everything. I've liked Bonnie's inclusion. Yes, even the paneling of like very like almost revealing scenes of Bonnie. Like right now, she shot up to my list now. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm starting to like Bonnie now. Um, but yeah, everything's going interesting. I like where the story's headed, and if anything, this chapter pretty much confirmed that when the Straw Hats leave Egghead, they are going to go to Elbaf, especially Robin. She is going to go to Elbaf to find those old documents of Ohara, and then also see Jaguar D Saul. So it's gonna be interesting, but let's get to it. The cover page is of the Germa double six stuff going on. You know, they had to go rescue their, brothers from the clutches of the Big Mom pirates. Those were actually interesting, and Caesar in this cover page looks like he's going with them to the German kingdom. So does that mean he's going to start working for the German kingdom? Maybe. It seems like their initiatives would align with each other, both mad scientists and Judge and Caesar, but hey, we'll see where that goes. But this is chapter 1066, titled The Will of Ohara. So the chapter starts off because last chapter ended off in the way, and I forgot to make the mention. Last chapter ended off in a way where Dr. Vegapunk, or I think his name's Shaka, he pretty much said like, oh yeah, this Egghead, it's not as technological advanced by me as you thought. It was actually highly advanced technology-wise, from dating back to days of ancient past, which gives a hint that back in the Void Century, they were very technological savage. Maybe what you could say is where we're a modern day type of setting, and whatever this war had an impact on between the world government and the ancient kingdom, it set the freaking world back pretty much decades. And everything that was, I guess modern technology, it just got set back pretty much to the Stone Age in a way. And that's what Dr. Vegapunk was hinting at. So pretty much the Straw Hats are like, so hold on. You're saying there used to be a futuristic city just like this one? And pretty much Shaka's like, well, in theory, I guess that's the case. He goes on to say there was once a man who gave his life for archaeology and brought that kingdom's existence to light. And that timeline matches up with the period in which a certain machine discovered elsewhere was originally produced. And pretty much Robin, she's thinking, as she's hearing all this, then she's like, wait, that means that said machine would have to be made during the Void Century. And pretty much Shock is like, how the hell do you know how much do you know and everything? And even the Straw Hats ask her like how much you know and everything. So the thing is, what's going on is, Dr. Vegapunk goes and say, I realize this may be painful you to remember, but, your hometown of Ohara was pretty much leveled by the Navy 22 years ago. I suspect this was because Ohara discovered the existence of this said kingdom. The Void Century, as it is called, is the history of war between this extremely advanced civilization of the past and pretty much the world government. He says the original 20 kingdoms. The 20 kingdoms won the war and later developed the world government, creating the world we know today. And in order to ensure those ideas of the ancient kingdom could not be passed down, they erased all traces from history. And remind you, this is the first time the Straw Hats are known about this information. The only one the only one on the Straw Hat Pirates that actually like knew or some basis of what's been going on in history was Robin. Everybody else really didn't know. If not, they didn't know what was going on, and everything. Now it's funny because Sanji brings up this point. He's like, "Whoa, wait a second, hold on. We're not supposed to find out this information, huh? Right? Because if we find out this information, wouldn't that mean the world government would have to kill us?" And pretty much Shaka's like, "Oh yeah, you'll be eliminated, yeah." And he's like, "What the fudge, man? What the hell are you talking about?" So Usopp's freaking out. He's like, "Oh, I'm not trying to listen, yada yada yada." But then that's when Shaka goes on to say, "But Nico Robin, if Ohara was indeed wiped out over this theory, wouldn't that mean that the government has essentially admitted that it's true?" Now Robin replies to this statement by saying, "In what capacity are you speaking here? The scholars of Ohara had to perform partaking research on precious ancient texts to arrive at that theory. With your status, can you learn the truth straight from the government?" Now, this we get some information, because Robin's telling him like, "Well, okay, if that's true, then wouldn't you know this information, since you work for the government?" And pretty much, Dr. Vegapunk's like, "No, in honesty, whether I'm affiliated with the world government or not, same results will be the same. They wouldn't let me know about anything that's going on there." And he goes on to say like, "Hell, even I can be killed for speaking about it," which it's absolutely freaking comedic, comedy-wise, that the world government, and it's not shocking, but it's probably only really, what I would say, the Gorosei, the Five Elders, Eam, and maybe the Celestial Dragons that would probably know about the ancient history. I think everybody else, like the CP agents, don't know. Obviously, the Navy doesn't know, and other members. But you would think, okay, the world government, you probably should tell your employees like the truth on the reasons why you don't want information to get out. But at the same time, it's like, well, they find out, we got to kill them because they might have differing of opinions. Which goes to show you how much of a dictatorship the world government truly is, and people don't really realize it. The modern day people really don't realize it. Like, you got to think about it. You have some of these kids probably in the One Piece world going to school, probably finding out a whole different history than what the original history was. It's like say this. It's like say this. Say like the United States, because I live in the country of the United States. Say like something terrible freaking happened. Something terrible had to happen to where the United States government had to cover it all up so nobody could know. And the thing is, I don't know if I want to get away with that, but it's just say it's like this very important part of history that the world government just wants to hide because they know they were in the wrong, and that they know that the entire population of the country would probably hate them for it. And guess what? They changed that said part of history, kind of forcing who knows, who doesn't know, finding it out, killing them off. So guess what? They warp history. So they put in your history books, oh, this is really what happened. Not some things and everything. But you see, the thing with these poneglyphs, they've been leaving behind, these messages, these instances of what's been happening in the past, which I always found actually pretty interesting. Why the fact that the world government, they've never been able to, I don't know, go seize the poneglyphs and go find them and just put them up in Marijwa so nobody else can find them. I find that whole stuff interesting. Why not they just go look for the poneglyphs too, but instead of trying to read the poneglyphs, go to the poneglyphs to, I don't know, freaking put them in Marijwa. And I know some of these poneglyphs are in like places they can't even go to. Like, for example, the one poneglyph in Skypiea, they couldn't get to that one, whatever, regardless. And that would probably go for maybe a common pirate that doesn't go to Skypiea. So, that's kind of the thing there and everything. But yeah. So yeah. Now, going on with this whole conversation, Robin goes on to say, in that case, how did you learn about the ancient kingdom? All the text, the library that Ohara had, they're all destroyed. And pretty much, Dr. Vegapunk's like, well, The will of Ohara still lives on. He goes on to say the event of that day shocked the world. The island of scholars, Ohara, the most knowledgeable place in the world, destroyed in the course of a single night with only one little girl left alive. For the crime of being a fanatical sect of the scholars seeking to overturn the world government itself. Several months after it happened, I ended up taking a trip to the charred remains of Ohara. I'd known the great archaeologist Dr. Clover in life and thought it was appropriate to pay my respect in his memory. So we get confirmation here that Dr. Vegapunk knew Clover. He knew Clover, one of Robin's teachers back on Ohara, which is actually shocking to say the least. So that's kind of thing. Now, Dr. Vegapunk goes on to say he was an adventurer who obsessed over the Void Century and traveled the world in search of rare text. Clover was arrested by the Navy and broke out of prison 10 whole times and made him the most famous archaeologist in the world. In this panel, we get a panel of a much younger Clover on a ship, doing what he was doing. He continues, Dr. Vegapunk continues on to go to say, eventually, other scholars were drawn to him and his quest, and Ohara became a sacred land for archaeology. Their brilliance was the cause of their tragedy. I set foot on Ohara when even the tree of knowledge had been burned to the ground, and what I saw stunned me. The lake in the center of and this is huge information. The lake in the center of the island was full of a massive collection of books and papers of all kinds. Now I suspect that as a buster call burned down the island around them, the scholars of Ohara made their final stand and died protecting the fortune they wished to leave behind for the future. Ignorant soldiers would not have the ability to recognize the value of what they were seeing. Ohara won. When I saw and understood what happened, it left me helpless to stop the tears from coming. And then, you get this whole flashback of Robin's backstory about, Nico Olvia, saying her goodbyes to Robin and everything, and how the fact that the archaeologists were trying to save the books and everything, the whole thing with Saul and everything, yeah. So this is absolutely huge revelations. The fact that when Dr. Vegapunk went to the island after, it got pretty much burnt to the ground thanks to the Buster Call, books were in the lake and they were still there. Now, if I am correct, when the Navy ended up going back to check to see if there was any more survivors, there were a few Navy there were employees that actually saw the books in the lake look like they saw something, and they clearly show it. Now, why those Navy soldiers didn't do anything about that, I have no idea. Maybe they were afraid that they could lose their job, but that's not good, because that's not really freaking... It's not smart of them. You'd think you would let them know, but maybe it's because they thought, I guess, the water messed the books up, so it's like, it's kind of a lost cause. Those books are ruined anyways, because... Trust me, if I throw a book in like deep water, it could be ruined and shit like that, but who knows. Anyways, because of this, Robin starts to cry and she starts to get very emotional. Now the other stars are like, hey, damn it, Vegapunk, why are you making Robin cry and everything? Now Robin goes on to say, just as you suspected, Ohara uncovered the existence of the ancient kingdom. And mind you, Robin doesn't really tell that to a lot of people, but hey, she said it. And that's when Dr. Penguin's like, so I see, then it's the truth. Now, Robin goes on to ask, okay, so where are the books from Ohara that were in the lake? Now, Vegapunk's like, well, you see, I wanted to take them with me to Punk Hazard, but if my superiors had found that out, then guess what? Everything would have been lost, I would have been killed, and they would have seized those books. The truth is, I encountered quite a combination of people that day. So we get a flashback scene of Ohara after the Buster Call incident, months after the Buster Call incident, 22 years ago. So we see it to where Dr. Vegapunk goes there, and all of a sudden, in the lake, he sees the giants fishing the books out of the lake, and he's wondering, okay, what are they doing here? Do they not understand the value of those books? And all of a sudden, this mysterious individual is like, it's been a while. Hello, Vegapunk. Now that I had to guess it was you thanks to that head of yours. And all of a sudden, we see Monkey D. Dragon at age 33 in the past. He has that, no, he doesn't have that face tattoo. And Dr. Vegapunk was like, "Oh, Dragon, what the heck are you doing here?" And pretty much, Dragon's like, "Well, I could ask you the same thing, Vegapunk. Somehow your head's grown even larger." And we actually finally, for the first time in One Piece, we get the reveal, the character reveal of Dr. Vegapunk. So Dr. Vegapunk's at this age he's 40. In this time, 22 years ago, he was 43. So I believe he's somewhere in his 60s currently right now, which I think they show when it comes up. But Dr. Vegapunk, he has this big long head. He has his tongue sticking out. I've seen a lot of other reviewers compare the way Dr. Vegapunk looks to he looks to Albert Einstein. That one Albert Einstein picture where he's just standing and, you know, he sticks his tongue out like that. Pretty much like that. So yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. His design is unique, but hey, it's an Oda looking design. But it's interesting. It's interesting. They both have flowers, so they're obviously there to pay their respects to Clover and everything. So yeah. Now, Dragon goes on to say, "Are you curious about those giants too? They're not thieves. I already looked into it. They come from Elbaf, it seems, and they know what those books down there are worth. Their captain was a strange man, all covered in bandages. He said Ohara gave their lives to save the asset of humanity. We can't let them be erased from history. It's a good thing that your world government didn't figure it out and come back to destroy the books that remain. Now, just a moment, I'm not." And pretty much we find out that Dragon here actually wanted to enlist Dr. Vegapunk in their group. Now, at this time, the Revolutionary Army was not a thing. Not yet. And we later found out from Dr. Vegapunk, Dragon, Ivankov, and I forgot Kuma. They were the founders of the Revolutionary Army. But pretty much he's like, "I can't believe you will work for those dudes. Like, they're just gonna work you like a government dog and you're just gonna take orders from them." And pretty much Vegapunk's like, "Well, look, dude, I would love to join your operation, but the problem is you got no freaking money and I need funds to do what I need to do." So, you know, that's kind of the thing. And he goes on to say the world government is a massive organization, and within the Navy in particular. And this is where he goes on to tell Dragon, he's like, "You see, I think you're getting things wrong, Dragon. You see, okay, the world government, yes, that's the case. Maybe they're not all bad up there in the world government, but the Navy in particular, you have to imagine that there's a few good people in there. And trust me, throughout the story, we've seen there are actually some honorable, you know, Navy people in there. You got Smoker, you got Kobe, you got some guys that aren't government lapdogs, and guess what? Will just do what the world government. Sometimes some of these people actually question, like, why the fuck are they doing what they're doing?" So yeah. And Dragon's just like, yeah, I know, but it just shocked me. That's all it is. So yeah. Now, the thing is, they continue on saying, "For the crime of speaking their mind to the cruel, unfair force that is the law, a group of powerless academics was obliterated by extreme violence. But I will create a military force that can actually fight back." And Dr. Vegapunk's like, "You will, despite your hatred of war?" And pretty much Dragon's like, "Just watch, Vegapunk. I'll change the world. I'll see to it that Clover's death and Ohara's will don't go to waste." And pretty much that's when Dr. Vegapunk says, "Yeah, before that year ended, Bartholomew, Kuma, Ivankov, and Dragon, they created the Revolutionary Army that now shakes the world to its core." And pretty much the Stars are like, "What the hell? I didn't know all that." You know, so all the characters, they're actually shocked about everything that has happened, and everything. So yeah. Dr. Vegapunk goes on to say, "It's true that we must not allow the government to discover that Ohara's library still lives. So out of personal interest, I traveled to Elbaf in secret and read all the books they rescue. In other words, all the world's mystery that Ohara deciphered are right here in my brain, where I have carried on the great work of researching them." So we get a panel of the man that is in bandages, and then the next panel, you have it where Robin starts to cry, and it's kind of a very emotional moment. She goes and say that giant captain, his name was Saul, wasn't it? And pretty much Dr. Vegapunk confirms, like, yeah, it's him. He's currently hiding. I could not tell you more, wherever he might be. And she starts to smile and cry at the same time because Saul, if you trust me, Saul had a massive impact on her backstory. And the fact that she now found out that he's still alive, that freaking hits her. So this pretty much confirms, bro, they're gonna go to Elbaf in the next arc or whatever. If this Egghead arc is a short mini arc, then I can see it to where they go to Elbaf to go find the secrets of the world and have Robin read the book. So then maybe the Elbaf arc can honestly be another stationary arc where, guess what? We get an understanding of what the hell the true history of the One Piece world is. And then two, we'll probably get that emotional moment of Robin meeting Saul again, which, dude, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what the scene will be. Like, I could definitely see Jaguar D Saul's like, Robin, it seems like you've grown older and you have gotten your friends you've been looking for, haven't you? So I need to see that scene. Like, I need to see that. So this pretty much confirms we're going to Elbaf. We're going to go to Elbaf, and I'm hyped. I am hyped. So she thanks Dr. Vegapunk for giving her the information and ensuring that Ohara's battle wasn't in vain. And pretty much Vegapunk is like, I'm simply engaged in all areas of study. So yeah. Now, the thing is, he's like, listen, I cannot release you yet. Yeah, but you have to come with me. I have something to show you. Now we cut back over to where Luffy's group was at, where they came across that ancient structure, that robot-looking technology. And all of a sudden, that's when they end up coming out and they meet Dr. Vegapunk, currently what he looks like. And even Bonnie knows that's Dr. Vegapunk. And, well, Dr. Vegapunk, he's got a much shorter head now. So, yeah. And, we kind of see that, yeah, he's got a much, smaller hair. And he's got a lot, it's gonna be interesting. And that's where the chapter ends off, where, Dr. Vegapunk and Luffy finally meet. He makes a mention like, oh, you're Dragon Son, yada, yada, yada. And everything. But, yep, we meet Dr. Vegapunk. No break next week, so, maybe we'll find out what Dr. Vegapunk, the Daft Punk looking one, is gonna show the Straw Hats. Well, because we get some more information with what the real Dr. Vegapunk, will talk about and everything. But, it's gonna be freaking interesting. A really damn great revealing chapter on a lot of stuff that's revealed. Again, like I said earlier, this chapter pretty much confirms the Straw Hats are gonna go to Elbaf next week. Like, it will make absolutely no sense that they would not go to Elbaf. It's not only because of all the teasing they've been doing for years, but now this chapter further points the road. Oh no. If there was any potential, like, I guess you could say, worries that they're not going to go to Elbaf. Well, no, they're going to go to Elbaf because Robin's going to be asking Luffy, listen, we need to go to Elbaf. I need to go see an old friend of mine. And then also, too, we have to go look at these books that, well, guess what, can explain the history of the world that I need to see. And I think Luffy's going to be fine with that. So that's going to be the thing right then and there. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for the time they get to Elbaf. And I definitely can't wait to see Robin, and much older Robin, finally meeting Saul, because I bet you Saul's going to be like, you finally have your friends like I told you would find and everything. And I think to get a very good moment to, and I wouldn't say cap off Robin's story, but bring it around full circle. Just so freaking good. And I forgot to make a mention. Jaguar D. Saul could also be the man who was marked by flames. Makes sense. There was flames all over there were flames over Ohara, and he was having bandages wrapped around his skin. So maybe he probably got some skin burns due to flames. We'll see. But very much interesting chapter. I know this is a long video, but yeah. So, anyways, what were your thoughts on this week's manga chapter of One Piece? The revelations we got here. Do you agree with me that this confirms that we're gonna go to Elbaf, or do you think maybe we'll go in a different direction? I don't know, but One Piece has been good and good, and I can't wait for more. But hit that subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content, whether it's the anime or the manga. I reviewed One Piece Film Red. If you are a manga fan and you don't check out my anime episode reviews, I also review the anime on a weekly basis as well. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, catch you guys later. Peace.